Japan proves excess death in vaccinated. So it's proven. We'll see. Okay, I'm curious. Let's see it.
Welcome to this talk. Now I want to bring some important information coming out of Japan, which seems to have a greater openness than other countries that could be mentioned to being aware about COVID vaccine harms.
Okay.
Let me give you some of the headline information first. Decide if you want to watch. Now this is from Dr. Morikami. Of course I pronounced that incorrectly. Senior Fellow, Molecular Oncology and Pharmacology. And we'll just look at his main points. And once we've looked at his main points, then we'll look at where he got it and the validity of this data. The more doses you get, the sooner you're likely to die. Talking about COVID.
I think I got 2 shots. I think I got vaccinated twice. I'm dead, guys. RIP.
Vaccine doses, of course.
I'm dead.
Direct quote. Now, these, of course, are all from basically Google Translate, AI translations. With no reason to assume they're not accurate, and we believe they are accurate, actually.
Okay.
They have been verified by Japanese speakers.
Hopefully.
The more doses you get, the sooner you're likely to die within a shorter period. So what he's saying here is if you have more doses, excess deaths occur more quickly for people that have had more doses of mRNA vaccine.
Okay.
I mean, this kind of data that's around now and the fact that these vaccines are still allowed to be used is just incomprehensible now. Regulators are going to have to answer for this sooner or later because it's just preposterous now, in my view. So the more doses you get, the sooner you're likely to die within a shorter period. Among the vaccinated, death peak emerged especially between 19 and 120 days post-vaccination.
Okay,
now, this seems to
so the earlier it is, the worse it becomes. So the fact that we are now in 2025 still alive, we can probably say that we're kind of safe. Okay.
At the time, sort of 3-4 months, 90 to 120 days post-vaccination.
Okay.
Now, of course, doctors are very much aware now of the risk of myocarditis, for example, myopericarditis, occurring typically a day to a week, typically, after vaccination.
Okay.
So when it's been 90 days, 120 days, they've kind of lost interest and don't make the link anymore. But this is what this data shows, that the link is there. Now, we also did a video a few days ago, a few days ago, with Professor Robert Clancy, who has been reviewing a paper by an Australian statistician that shows the three, essentially the same thing, we believe. Excess deaths 3 months after vaccination. Now, we can't say more than that yet because Professor Clancy hasn't released it yet.
Okay.
But that's
maybe
what's
enough
currently
data.
being worked on, or the review is doing. The reviewer has not yet released that paper. But it does seem to be a consistency here with the Japanese data, which of course is interesting. So 90 to 120 days, more people start dying. A significant peak forms at 3 to 4 months after vaccination. And I'll show you the peak in a minute. It's probably due to the vaccine's influence, with adverse reactions occurring leading to death. Remember, this is
that's the point.
Dr.
Okay.
Murakami. Pronunciation, apologies again. Now, so it's probably due to the vaccine's influence with adverse reactions occurring leading to death. So he sees a clear causal link between these. We found that as the number of doses increase, the peak of deaths appears faster. So in other words, when people have more doses, so like if someone had like 3 doses, the peak might be after about 90 days. No, 120 days rather. But if they had 4 or 5 doses, the peak in deaths would be earlier, maybe about 90 days. That's what he's saying. So the more vaccines, the greater the risk of death, excess deaths occurring earlier after the vaccine. So we found that the number of doses increased, the peak of deaths appears faster, meaning the more doses you get, the sooner you're likely to die.
What the hell?
Within a short period. So the risk increases with more doses. If the vaccine had no toxicity or didn't inject...
It's funny that this guy's like on a projector. I feel like I'm at school again. Like this guy's on the projector, like he's changing the slides, highlighting the slides. I think that's so cool. That's such a good way to make a video. I feel the same, but it's part of the charm of this video. Yeah. All right, let's continue.
induced death, there wouldn't be a peak. That's the point, he says. Now, this is one of the graphs that are presented here. Now,
okay, vaccinated.
What we see is two clusters, isn't it? Two clear clusters.
Yeah, that is clear.
The vaccinated here.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, they both have the same color. Like, it's kind of hard to say which dot is which.
There.
Okay. Damn.
I think it just stays a little bit above for quite some time.
So here we can say after this point,
here. Now
after this point, it does not matter if you're vaccinated or not. But until then, it does.
Figures are excess deaths.
Hey, Brook.
So that's the unvaccinated there, remaining a little lower as time goes on.
What
so
the
we
hell?
see clear differences. Now, the units here aren't entirely clear for translational purposes, but what we've got there is 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. So this is linear. It is not a logarithmic scale. So basically, if that's the excess deaths there in the unvaccinated group...
Yeah, that's linear. That's totally fine. I would not make a weird a weird scale for this one. No, that is totally fair, and that is like the normal risk, I guess. Like if you're unvaccinated or not vaccinated. Okay, so the higher you go towards 1, maybe 1 is like a 100%. I don't know, or something like that. Does it mean you're safe from permanent issues though? Yeah, exactly. If that ever comes out.
We see that the deaths in the vaccinated group are 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 times more. Clear white paper between the group that were vaccinated and their likelihood of dying, and the group that were not vaccinated and their likelihood of dying. Now,
okay,
this is based on a study of approximately... This data comes from approximately 18 million people
so it's,
in Japan.
Wow.
That's a pretty convincing sample size.
Yeah.
This data...
I think I would have been convinced with like 100,000, which I think is a large enough numbers that if the bell is that pronounced, it would be confirmed. But that is 18 million.
Is likely to be highly...
Unless they're not looking at the right thing.
Incredibly highly significant.
Ouch.
Notes from the graph: the number of days from final vaccination to death, the number of days from final vaccination to death, and the number of deaths. So what we see here, just it's a bit hard to see, of course. So that's the day of the vaccine there. That's 120 days there. So the peak's 90 to 120 days. That is 240 days there, and that is 360 days there. So basically, this is a year after here. So excess deaths in the vaccine group persisting basically for the full year.
Okay, yeah.
But significantly so for the first 240 days.
Even after 240, you're not safe,
really
it seems.
Enough to raise questions in the mind of all regulators for all mRNA products. I don't expect it will, but it's enough, in my view.
Yeah.
Now, where is this from? Let me just show you some of the video here. This is the journalist concerned who facilitated this. On March 29th, that call was made, and today, 15th of June, amazingly, data on the number of vaccinations for 80 million people has been compiled. So pretty impressive that they've managed to compile data for 18 million people who were vaccinated. And that's the graph.
There it is with colors.
Compared vaccine to unvaccinated, as we saw. We've just seen that. Right, so I'm just going to... There's also this paper here, which details this to some extent. But the paper isn't a complete thorough write-up, so we'd have to say this is essentially partly written up. A lot of this evidence comes from the video evidence that's been published of their roundtable discussion. Let me show you some more on that now. So these are direct quotes from the video. I've just screenshotted them so we get time to look at them. These are direct quotes from the professor. Well, we tried this. This is on 18 million people, and we see the clear difference between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. And for unvaccinated peak, no peak forms, which is the expected. So that's this line along the bottom. No peak there, but a rather big peak further up.
That's wow.
First 2 weeks had fewer deaths, slightly fewer deaths. From about a month, the peak grows, with a significant peak forms at 3 to 4 months. Again, this is from AI translations from the Japanese.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. I would not understand.
What does this mean? Doctors administering the vaccine likely think that within the same day, the next week, or a week, it's probably due to the vaccine's influence with adverse reactions occurring. Right, so what he's saying here is that the doctors in Japan, of course, know that a day or a week or so immediately after vaccine there's a risk. If it's 90 days, 120 days, they don't really realise that. That's why doctors haven't realised that this is that these excess deaths are probably, according to this thinking, attributable to the COVID vaccine. Leading to death, again, is a direct translation. This information has been sent to the Japanese regulators, and we do believe that regulators...
After this, how is the Japanese people going to trust the government again? Like, let's say there's another pandemic happening, okay? And like everybody's dying and like they need to vaccinate people. And I don't know, now the vaccine is maybe not safe, but like they want people to take it. Like people are going to be like, nah, I'm not dying today. Hell no, I'm not taking the vaccine. That's not happening. I don't trust you guys. Let me... They're going to have to like administer it by force to people because nobody's going to trust them. Like, even in here, like if it starts coming out, I feel like there's a lot of people that would not trust it. Maybe the new generation, like Gen Z and things like that did not hear it or something. But like, we're going to sound like boomers at like 40 years old. I'm not taking the vaccine. I'm not doing this.
Around the world do chit-chat to each other from time to time. So there's really no excuse for this carrying on now. This is the talk here. It includes very reputable people, including Japanese, basically Japanese prime ministers or senators.
That's only something you would see in Japan. Like, would you see this in Canada or like United States? Having someone replace their camera with this? With like, is that a fat cat? Or like, I don't know what this is, but like that would not work. Or like this guy. It's like a cartoon character. Japan is on another level.
And these are all from those from that video. Now, as I said, that paper we looked at before was published. I'm going to look at that in a bit more detail, probably on the next video. But this does lack a formal publication. I expect that's in process at the moment, but the fact that we've shown graphs like this mean that alarm bells must be ringing in regulators around the world.
Yeah, it must be.
To do with those alarm bells, of course, we have limited information from. We tend not to do that much, actually, but
no, we're gonna do that much after.
Hard to explain, but true.
We can like not take any future vaccine, and like if we're absolutely not forced to, that's kind of the only thing we can really take out of this, because now it's too late. Like the vaccine has been injected, so. But
that's the difference between the groups: vaccinated deaths and unvaccinated deaths for a sample of 18 million people. This is really quite hard to argue with. Anyway, let me show you where we got this from at the moment. As we say, it's largely from this video that I showed you.
Okay.
So one source, you can watch the whole video there. This is from the Vigilant Fox website.
Okay.
Japan released bombshell vax versus unvax data on 18 million people. We need this data from all around the world. Now, this statistician that Professor Clancy is currently reviewing in Australia, he must have got hold of the vax versus the unvaxxed. Of course, in the UK, it's a secret. We're not allowed to know.
Oh, really?
For reasons of
it's a secret. I see.
Confidentiality. It's interesting. I did talk to the MP David Davis, who was Science Minister a while back, and he assured me that there's ways to make this confidential. There's just no legitimate reason why the vax v unvax death rates are not released in the UK. This is just outrageous censorship, in my view.
Okay.
Anyway, So the video is from the Information Disclosure Request Team of Japan.
I mean, at the start, maybe not now, but I think back then it was okay to hide it because I think people were like pointed a finger at people that were having the virus at the moment, and like you could have had some problems if you actually had the virus. Not some problems, but like you could have been seen differently. So I can see that at that moment it was better to keep it silent. But maybe now it would be completely stupid and they should release the information. They should release the data. But during the COVID, I can sure see it, that it could be to the detriment of some people. If there censorship happening, better as well not take it. Natural immunity, man. Even this term was banned from social medias. It was? I didn't know that. But natural immunity is a good thing. But I also get the point of the vaccine, you know, that you skip that part. You skip having the virus and then you can go to work knowing that you're not going to get the virus for another 3 months. I mean, it's a really good deal if, like, there's no death after that. Like, it's a really good deal. It's a really good thing. But if it can cause harm, I would definitely work with the natural immunity over whatever this is. Like this, yeah, this is not a good thing.
The journalist and the scientist and the politician. Now, we've already looked at the scientist. That is Professor Murakami. This is from the journalist concerned, that we did show a picture as well. And reluctance from the Japanese government as well. If the government won't do it, then the people investigating the mass deaths, we're talking about mass deaths here, of Japanese people.
I mean, of course, yeah, with that bell curve.
Database of 18 million vaccinated people revealed for the first time. This is a key discovery. The more doses, the more peak shifts, indicating the toxicity accumulates. As we said, more vaccines, people tend to die quicker. The toxicity overlaps. The more doses you receive, the faster people will die. And that's the representative of the Japanese government there. Or member of the legislature in Japan, to be more accurate. So these are the pictures from the video. There's this one as well. Okay,
so there's more group. Oh, it's one vaccine, two vaccine, again, 3 vaccine until 5.
This, we found that the number of doses, as the number of doses increased, the peaks of death appears faster, meaning the more doses you get, the sooner you're likely.
So at 5, you're fucked. Like this is probably none. This is 1, 2, 3. I would say 4. Oh, maybe that's 6 and 7. I don't know, but like, yeah, at that point, it skyrocket.
To die.
Ouch.
Within a shorter time period. Shows that if the vaccine had no toxicity or didn't induce deaths, there wouldn't be a peak. Pretty straightforward, really. And the more doses you receive, the faster people die. So there we have it. You can watch there's clips of the video available with translation.
Okay, sure.
Don't know about a translation of the whole video yet. I expect that's to come, and we look forward to more detailed papers. But for now, this is enough to suspend mRNA vaccines and all
absolutely,
vaccines.
Yeah.
In my view,
they're not going to stop though. That's the thing. At least
we'll
here.
Look at the number of people that have suffered badly in Japan from this. I'm not going to go through it all now, but just to give you a headline figure, when we do this, I'll do this as the next video, I think. So the government has provided payouts for 8,432 injured people in Japan, including 903 deaths. So the Japanese government basically has paid compensation for 903 deaths. And yet, having caused so many deaths, the vaccines are still being used in many parts of the world for various people, although the sound of backpedaling in the UK is actually quite loud at the moment.
Okay.
If there's that many people injured and died in Japan, it's probable that the same proportions have died all around the world. Proportional to the amount of vaccines
given. It's not just probable.
Given.
Unless we didn't receive the same vaccine and there was problematic vaccine and good vaccine. So that can also be the case. Like they would later discover that, that specific vaccine was the problem, while this one was not the problem. That could also be the case. That can be true.
Anyway, we'll look at that paper in the next video. For now, let's just close with this graphic.
But I would not also, sorry for pausing again, but I think I would not be surprised if all the vaccine were produced from the same people. They started with one experiment. They found how to make the vaccine, and then every company just copied that one method, and they just labeled it with their name. So it just comes back to the exact same thing, or almost. That could also be something.
Pretty alarming and pretty convincing differences between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated groups in terms of deaths over at least a 9-month period.
Yeah.
I suppose according to this data, if it's more than a year since your last vaccine, your excess deaths is likely to go down. But as we'll see in the next video, it doesn't account for the cancer risk. But for now,
yeah, there's more risk maybe after that. Okay. Yeah, maybe there's going to be like a risk after like X amount of years. Like what if after 10 years they find that there's going to be something related to the vaccine? How insane that would be. Even you can post article on Facebook that's because of Canada's liberal censorship law. Really? Okay. It used to not say the word vaccine or COVID too on YouTube because of censorship. Yeah, I remember that every time you use the word COVID, there was like something that would appear here, and it said something like, "Oh, he's talking about the vaccine. Like, don't take anything that he's talking for true," or something like that. Like, there was a warning sign right there. Yeah, so they would not use it because of that reason. I think because it like labeled them to a completely different thing. This is a good thing, true. I've watched many of this video, and that's why I told you the other day that when you said that I think the vaccine saved more people than it may cause the harm, I told you no. Yeah, I mean, I did have this data. I believe you now. I had only my mind deductions, which was not that good of a thing. I posted the video in chat. If you guys want to give him a subscribe.